Welcome, if this is your first time watching Who Remembers, the series where we discuss and break down my thoughts on games that are at least 10 years old or older. Some we are revisiting, and some we are playing for the first time. I'll try to keep it mostly spoiler-free by avoiding any major plot points. So let's get started. The Last of Us went into development shortly after the production of Uncharted 2 in 2009, which I will be playing after the completion of this video. According to Wikipedia, this was actually the first time that Naughty Dog split into two different teams. While one was working on The Last of Us, the other was working on Uncharted 3. The Last of Us officially released in 2013, selling over 1 million copies the first week. The Last of Us is an action-adventure game from the third-person perspective, and also an exclusive to the Sony PlayStation. The Last of Us is set 20 years into the post-apocalyptic world, after a global pandemic breaks out, where Joel, a smuggler, has to transport a teenage girl, Ellie, across the US. The story seems really simple when you break it down like that. But honestly, this story is more about love, survival, pain, grief, suffering, redemption. Joel and Ellie couldn't be any more indifferent when they first meet each other.
I want Joel to watch over her.
Whoa, I don't think that's the
I'm not
best
Ellie.
Ellie. Him. How do you know them?
I was close with his brother Tommy.
Without spoiling anything, Joel's a very hardened individual, emotionally unavailable, and has basically lost everything in his life outside of his brother Tommy. Ellie, on the other hand, is very charismatic, goofy, outgoing, a fun-loving soul who grew up in the midst of a pandemic without her parents. Joel has shut himself off from the world, and is basically just merely surviving to the next day.
What are you doing?
Killing time.
Well, what am I supposed to do?
I am sure you will figure that out.
He has no desire to work or trust anyone else besides his partner Tess. Ellie seeks out the opposite, longing for companionship, hope, and trying to find her place in this new world. Ellie has either lost or been abandoned by anyone else she's ever cared about. These two extremes create quite the scene between these two characters. In a world full of terrible people, monsters, and little hope, most of my favorite moments come in the downtime between Joel and Ellie.
Oh, I'm sure your friend will be missing this tonight. It's light on the reading, but it's got some interesting photos.
Now, Ellie, that ain't for kids.
Whoa! How the hell would he even walk around with that thing?
Get rid of that.
Look, hold your horses. I want to see what all the fuss is about. Oh, why are these all stuck together? I'm just fucking with you. Bye-bye, dude.
Like when Ellie pulls out her book of puns and tries to crack Joel's tough exterior. This is where Naughty Dog shines with the storytelling and creative dialogue. Any studio can produce a zombie game, but most of them fall flat when it comes to the story and the ability to make the character feel something and actually relate to the characters. The Last of Us is one of my favorite games of all time, but I was admittedly late to the party, nearly 7 years late. It was either late 2019 or early 2020 when I first played The Last of Us. I remember people on YouTube recommending it over and over again, so I finally decided to take everyone's advice and give it a shot. I mean, at this point, you could pay, I think, $10 to $15, so it seemed like a no-brainer. Since that rainy night in Seattle, where I enjoyed my first playthrough, I've revisited the game several times now. Of course, nothing will ever compare to the first time, but I must say, I still have that childlike sense of wonder each time I play The Last of Us. Each time I play The Last of Us, the opening score and the music overall always pulls on my heartstrings. I tend to space out my playthroughs so each time feels fresh to a degree. The suspense and tension throughout the game is very real and raw, forcing you to play aggressive, often having to throw caution to the wind. I truly love this type of gameplay, where you're low on ammo, limited on resources, and often caught off guard. I grew up playing games like Resident Evil and Silent Hill, but The Last of Us truly hits different. I think one of the main reasons why is because this could realistically happen. The cordyceps could and would take over your mind and body. Sure, I guess some lunatic could create something similar to the T-virus and try to take over the world, but that's a little cheesy and hard to buy into. Don't get it twisted though, I love Resident Evil, but the realness of The Last of Us grabs you like no other. People can say what they want about Neil Druckmann, creator of The Last of Us, but his take on a global pandemic is honestly the most realistic and believable take I've seen yet, in my humble opinion. What the characters go through to survive, and the moral crossroads they have to navigate through, is a masterpiece. The story of Joel and Ellie is beautiful to watch unfold. Joel once again has something worth fighting for. Once a broken man with no desire for hope, now a man who will go to any length necessary for those he cares for. Ellie, once lost, confused, angry, sad, overwhelmed, looking for any form of mother or father figure, desperately seeking out someone to love her and simply keep her safe, now can more hold her own, protect others, and has a sense of belonging and is starting to see the world through a different lens. A beautiful lens, full of hope and reason. A reason to live, to fight, to survive. I really hope you enjoyed looking back on The Last of Us as much as I did. If you're still on the fence about playing it, it's time to jump off and play it. Or, if you don't want to play the game, maybe just give the TV show a shot. Even with some of the changes, it's still a great adaptation of the game. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. It really helps me out as a small channel. Let me know in the comments your favorite memory of The Last of Us, and consider subscribing to the channel. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.